show is about to begin. Enjoy.
Michael O'Grady e Creativi.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. This is part 2 of episode 7. My guest today is Mr. Nick Diiorio, and we had a blast catching up, going a little off the rails and a little off topic with every little thing. That's kind of what happens. But we caught up on part 1 because it's been now, I think, a month since we did the first episode. Mm-hmm. And just to give you a quick cap of everything, Nick and I have known each other a long time, about a little over 7 years now, I think it is. And Nick is an awesome, fantastic bass player, working musician, but he also has a new single out now, which is on Spotify and iTunes and all that fun stuff. You can go and check it out. The song is called Into the Wild, and it is by the artist that is known as Diiorio.
That's right.
And here we are on part 2.
Hey!
We're getting back in the saddle.
We're
again,
there.
man. We're doing it.
We're
doing it, man.
Okay.
Here's how we're gonna go do it.
Just pull over. You can't pull over any further.
No. Now listen here. I want to know how you recorded that song, and tell me a little bit about Into the Wild. Because I listened to it, and it's phenomenal. It's really good. It's really, really good. I'm very impressed.
It's
very proud of you,
man. You know, okay. So here's the backstory. So I wrote that song about 2 years ago, probably. Mm-hmm. Me and Natalie were driving back from visiting my parents up in Petaluma, California, just north of San Francisco. Driving back, we're driving over the Grapevine, and I'm driving, and it's a beautiful landscape over the Grapevine. You know, especially after it rains, it's all green and it's beautiful, and so we're driving over that, and I just had like the beginning. If you listen to Into the Wild, which is just look up on this post, you'll be able to see the link to listen to the song.
Yeah, I'm gonna have all that in there for if you're just listening to this, the link is gonna be on iTunes. If you're watching it on YouTube, the link will be on there.
iTunes, Spotify.
Yeah, it'll be all on there.
So the beginning kind of riff that just kind of came into my head while we were driving.
You wrote the opening guitar
I
line?
honestly it just came into my head while I was driving, and I started writing the song while we were driving, and we're playing. I think we were playing like 21 Pilots or something, listening to something, Alt J maybe. I'm like, I was like, I need to turn this off, babe, for like the rest of the 40 minutes before we get home, because I had this just in my head, you know, the beginning riff, and I was like, I started writing like in my head while I was driving, pretty much the first verse and the chorus just kind of came to me.
No way.
Out of nowhere. So as soon as I got home that night, I dropped her off at her place just before we were living together, and I was like, I'm gonna go home and record this. And I sat down there for like hours and I literally wrote the whole song that night.
No way.
Yeah. That just wrote it all, and it's about 80% the same. I had in the second verse originally, it had like a 21 Pilots like rap, spoken word verse, which I loved, and Natalie loved because I wrote it about her, of course.
Oh,
but it was very 21 Pilots, you know.
A little too close.
Yeah,
you had to kind of let it go.
It was a little too much, and the more I listened to it, the more I was like, it just didn't fit.
Right.
So, you know, I sat down with, you know, David Allen did the drums, and I showed him that, and he was like, I don't know about this part, and a couple of people I showed to, they were like, it's kind of takes me away from the song.
Right.
So when I sat down with Caleb with it, I had originally Caleb Hewlin, who produced, mixed, and mastered the song, and did amazing guitars.
Yeah.
We were just kind of sitting there. He's like, you know what? Why don't we just kind of switch up the second verse? Why don't you take the first verse and just do the same lyrics? Because a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
With songs. But we're just going to make that second verse just more interesting.
Oh,
you know?
Okay.
Put some guitars in, make the drum beat a little bit different, and kind of set it up for that second chorus, which is a little bit, you know,
bigger,
better, right. And then kind of ends off with the Into the Wild theme at the end.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so it's I wrote that song 2 years ago, and finally to have it mixed, mastered. You know, I redid all vocals, redid guitars. Luckily, the bass and a couple other things on that was still good. So I didn't have to, so yeah, we finally just sat down and fucking hashed it out. And
it's a very, it's a very like cinematic song. Like the second I heard it, I mean, and of course, like when I took a look at like the title of it, and I got a chance to like listen to it, I was like, I kind of had an idea of like what to expect, but I think you did a great job of like capturing exactly what you just said as far as like where the song kind of stemmed from, what inspired you to write it. And the second you hear it, it does take you into this like travel kind of a feeling. Like if you were on the road, whether you're on the road to Vegas or you're going up to PCH or you're driving cross country. And it's kind of a very good, like I immediately just made me think of that adolescence kind of like late teens, early 20s. Let's just fucking go with the clothes on our backs into the wild, that kind of whole metaphor. You did a good job of like, you guys all did a good job of like capturing that whole thing. And it's a really well written song. I love it, man.
Yeah, I think it was kind of obviously perfect timing because we are in quarantine. We have not a lot to do right now. And it's, you know, it's a very uplifting, inspiring song.
Yeah.
To kind of help people get through what they're getting through right now, and it kind of applies to everything. So yeah, I think it kind of worked. It worked its magic in the right time.
Right, yeah.
You know, the funny story which I had told you earlier. You know, it was actually supposed to release this Friday.
Oh yeah, talk about that for
Friday,
a second. This is pretty
May
funny.
29th.
This is one of those things that happens to all of us when we're trying to do something.
So this is my first time doing any of this as an artist. You know, I've been playing bass for 10 years for whoever, and I wanted to do this by myself. And you know, DistroKid is a great platform. I would highly recommend it. It's like $20 to $35 for the year.
Oh, nice.
To release, you know, 1 to 2 singles at a time. Puts it out on every platform.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you can do lyrics. You can do, you know, who wrote the song. It's just super an amazing platform.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
It's, you know, and like there's CD Baby, there's TuneCore, there's a bunch of other ones that are great. And I've used CD Baby in the past. I just, you know, DistroKid was very easy to use, very user friendly, especially if you're just like an artist, you know, a new artist up and coming and have like a song or two to put out. So yeah, so I I did that. Let's see, this last Tuesday, I put everything in, and I did like the lowest I think is like $20 a month, and you still get everything on every platform, but you can't choose exactly what time it comes out.
Oh,
so you know, I had talked to a couple people, and they're like, just upload it now, put it in, and it'll probably take like a week or so, you know, to get onto Spotify and iTunes. It takes like a week at least for them to go through it.
That's like the norm?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like 5 to 7 days. And so I put it out on Tuesday night, well into Wednesday morning. And I wake up Friday morning and David Allen and a couple of other friends are like, dude, the song's out. It sounds great. I'm like, fuck. What? It's out. I was pissed. I was like, oh my God. Like I already told everyone.
Hey, it'll be out next week.
It's going to be out next Friday, May 29th. And
you had a release date.
Shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's out now. It's this Friday. It's a week before. So, you know, there wasn't really anything I could do at the point. I didn't want to take it down because people already knew it was out. And I would have to take it down, do the whole fucking thing again, which I didn't want to do. And then, you know, I was like, oh, maybe I'll just wait till next Friday and not tell anyone. Even though everyone that had pre-saved would be like, oh, hey, this is out now.
Yeah.
Great. Not a good idea. So I was like, you know what? It happens for a reason. I hit up John, you know, John Gregory. And,
a buddy of ours who helped you film like a little promo thing.
Yes, John Baggio. And we basically were like, okay, let's do another video. Squeak. let's figure it out. Like, let's do a video. Let's do it today. Let's get it done today because it's out. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
like,
might
I
as
have
well.
to. I have to just. Might as well just do a stupid video that could attract people's attention and be like, hey, the song's out. Anyone who pre-saved it will get the notification.
Right.
So I did that Friday, and yeah, came out, and there was a lot of support.
Oh yeah.
Which I was very like overly just blown away by. You know, I have a lot of good friends and family, and everyone was very supportive, like to the bottom of my heart. It was like amazing.
Yeah.
So
yeah, because I remember you told me about that, and I was like, okay, I'll have you come on and do the show.
Right.
And then when it's like, I'll release the show when the song is released, and then for some reason
we're planning
it was
to do this today. You're like,
Right.
we could do this today, and then by this Friday,
right,
May
then I'll have
29th,
this episode out.
we could put it out. And
Right. Yeah. But I mean, that's for some reason I didn't even notice. I was like, oh, it's out, and people are like, you know, I watched like your story, and like, yeah, the support was really great. It was like really well received. Everybody's like digging it. I fucking dug it. And I wanted it, and I didn't even think. I was like, oh yeah, he did say, until you brought that up to me. I think it's one of those things that like it's funny. Like I think in hindsight, you can like definitely like let that go, even though it already like dropped.
It's just a little thing. It's a little
Right, but I understand when
you
you're
know.
trying to set everything up, and then you're like, "Oh, this is not how I wanted it to go." It can
I was
be very
a little
frustrated.
disappointed
Yeah.
because I was so.
But I think it did.
I think it did well.
I think it did well anyway. Like it
Came
was
out
going to do
Memorial
the
Day weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect timing for
By the
everything.
time
to
this
happen.
comes out, it'll already probably have like 1 million plays.
That's right.
And
It's going to
everything.
be millions
Yeah.
of views.
No, it was
Yeah.
it was a great fucking song, and I like listened to it when I first noticed that it was out, and then I listened to it again to like refresh my memory of it today again, and I was just like, man, I gotta go on a run with this song.
Yeah, a lot of people, you know, friends and family and other fans that have kind of told me it's just the more they listen to it, the more they like it. It's very just kind of driving, running, just very like cinematic is a good word.
Yeah, it
You
is.
know, I would love it to be at the end of a movie.
Oh,
Big movie.
yeah,
But
not Into the Wild because that came out
it's already
like 20.
came out.
Like that came
Unless
out 12
they
years
redo
ago.
it.
Unless
and
they
then put
redo
my-
it. Yeah.
Then that would be
Hey,
great.
maybe I'll get to act in that one. I can be Emil Hirsch.
You look
I can be Emil
just
Hirsch.
like him.
No.
Don't eat those mushrooms,
Huh?
or you'll die.
What?
No, the mushrooms. He eats the mushrooms at the end.
Oh
Don't eat it.
yeah.
So don't eat.
I haven't seen that movie in forever. I was like,
Don't eat
almost
those.
Don't eat them. Don't do
Don't
it.
eat 'em.
Don't do that. Is that Vince Vaughn in it too?
Is he?
I don't know.
I haven't seen it in a long
I
time.
haven't watched it in a long.
It's a great
time.
movie. But actually, that was one of the reasons, like that vision, like that movie.
Right.
That's kind of
Where
why
were you driving back
I
from?
wrote
You were
this.
driving back from home.
NorCal, yeah, Petaluma, California.
What were you
Just driving
going?
up the Grapevine.
That's what it's called.
The Grapevine, yeah.
The Great.
Grape.
Oh, the
Have
Great.
you never driven
Mm-mm.
out?
I don't know anything about this.
So if you drive up the 5,
Uh-huh.
like past Six Flags,
Uh-huh.
keep driving.
Past
You get-
Auschwitz.
You get past Auschwitz.
Auschwitz.
I think you said Auschwitz.
No, Auschwitz. Do you know about Auschwitz?
No.
Auschwitz is like the
Sounds
shitty.
like shit.
Yeah, real bad.
So that's like way up.
That's way up.
So,
is that
okay.
past you?
No, that's on the way.
Oh, that's
so
on the
like
way.
basically going out of LA, you get past Valencia, you go out fucking down the 5. Then you
Right.
start going up this big grade, and it's just super fucking big, and then it goes like this, and you see all these beautiful mountains and a lake. That's a grapevine, and it actually snows up there. Like,
Really?
every winter. So it's so people coming from NorCal or people coming from SoCal to drive up the 5, they have to go through the grapevine.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah,
I've never noticed
It's
this.
a big thing.
I did not.
I've driven a car up there. My car died on the grapevine because you're literally going like this, and my transmission just fell out on the grapevine. Oh my god, good times. Yeah, so it's intense.
This is the first time I'm ever hearing.
Yeah. So to
Wow.
drive from here to San Francisco is like a 6-hour drive, 7 hour.
That's
drive.
what I've done.
And that's what you're driving.
Have I
you're
gone?
taking the 5. You took the
I
the
did?
grapevine. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
You went
that.
up the grapevine. And
Oh.
it's nothing
But
special.
nobody. It's not like there's
There's not
like
grapes on the side.
but-
You know, there's no vines.
I'm picturing the California raisins going.
Right.
You're in the grapevine.
Right.
My
Yeah,
mind. Honey. No,
That's
is there any
awesome.
signs that say, hey, you're in the
Yeah.
grapevine? Wow, I've made that drive quite a few times,
Yes, that's
and
the great
I've
one.
never noticed.
This thing, you go way up, and then you go all the way down, and then
Probably.
then you get to the flat. That's right after the Grapevine, and that's all the way up to 5.
Huh.
Yeah.
Granted, it's been a couple of years.
I was going to say, you've definitely driven up the Grapevine.
Yeah, then I have, but I didn't know that's what it was called. Yeah. Either that or I noticed
cool
it.
Story.
Either that or I noticed it in the car and was like, oh, that said Grapevine. And I just went on with my life.
Exactly.
And I didn't even think about it.
I mean, at the time, it's like, it's a long drive. Like 6.
Right.
Well,
6 hours is a pretty good drive and everything. Yeah.
When we were younger, 6 hours was a long time.
Yeah. I mean,
and then you're on the road, and 12 hours is like, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not pretty good. Well, I mean, I've made the cross country drive before. I've done that.
All the way up to
Ohio. From Ohio to here.
I mean, it's the same country.
Right. What? No shit, it is.
You said cross country.
Across the country.
Oh, yeah, technically it's across the country.
Yeah, it's across the country.
It's like middle.
No.
Midwest.
Well, here's the thing. We'll put it in perspective. Are you flicking me off right now, motherfucker? You're like, I have an itch. I better get it.
Midwest.
Put it in perspective. Put it in perspective.
That's a long drive.
It's a long drive, but also you think Ohio is so centered, but in Midwest, but it's not. It's very East Coast.
Very east.
It takes like 5 hours to get to New York.
Yeah.
It's
actually
okay.
It's top. It's like top east.
Top east
coast.
Yeah, basically.
Because from there to like Illinois is
right.
quick.
Right. Very, very quick. Yeah. But for me, I was with a girlfriend at the time, and we drove out here across the country, cross country. It's not like we went Maine to California. Like, okay.
That's that 3,000 mile mark.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I think. Oh, is it 3,000 miles?
Yeah. I think there's actually a sign like in Sacramento or something that tells you how far Maine is.
Oh.
It's like 3,000 something.
Oh, okay. So Ohio's got to just be obviously like a little shy of that, but we made that drive one time. From Ohio to here, and that took, I want to say, it was either 3 full days or like
with
4
stops and
with
stuff,
stopping,
right.
it like staying at a hotel. Like we kind of like planned it out where we went from like, because I want to say this was like, you know what? It was like around early March, and it was in Ohio. It was still like a lot of snow. Cold. It was very cold. Yeah. So what we did was we went the south route, and I think it's Interstate 40.
Right. So you went
I-40.
So you went
the
like
southbound. Yeah, we went down a little bit
above like Texas. That's what 40 does. So 40 kind of goes
the Panhandle.
Yeah,
right.
It goes under Colorado, kind of fucking. Bink.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then we ended up here. Like we stayed at a hotel like somewhere. I remember making that drive, and here was the deal: the way it all lined up. So at the time, I was going to MI. I don't think I knew you at this point. No, I don't think I did. No, I didn't. And at the time, I'm going to MI, Musicians Institute here in Hollywood, California. And we have a break. And, plug MI right there. Hollywood, California.
The face is still on the side of the building.
I know. I see it all the time. There's been times I was in traffic, and Nick's face was on the back of a bus. And I was like, that motherfucker, I can't get around you.
But he still makes me very nice and content.
I think I've sent you photos.
You did.
Like, there you are.
I still have them.
And that one time I was on a bus, man. Yeah.
It's cool.
It is cool. That is cool. I've never been put on a bus. I want to go.
I was on the metro once.
If anybody can put me on a bus or a little seat thing to get vandalized, black out my teeth and give me a mustache, or take away the mustache. Bonus points if you take away the mustache.
One of the things was on the metro.
Oh,
and I was
really?
sitting. I didn't notice. I was sitting like right next to it. And this girl was like, I said, no.
No. See, that wouldn't be me. What I would end up doing is I would end up like taking it all day. Like, hey, look.
There was one, because this is back 2013, maybe 2014. They were all over the metro. Mm-hmm. It was like me and like all the other people. They were like everywhere. They were on the fucking like Hollywood and Highland. You walk down, boom, fucking MI, boom, boom. In the fucking
it was like a big promo
like everywhere.
Yeah.
This one time, this girl was like, "That's you." I was like, "Yes." And so she's like, "Can you take a picture with me like next to?" I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." You know.
And you're like,
okay, I'm not getting paid for this. So
right? I know.
fuck.
Yeah. No, but so we left. So going to MI at the time, it's like 2011. I want to say yes, it was 2011. And God, I hope this is not showing up on the audio. This fucking squeak. I did not know this was
Not bad.
Anyway, so at MI we have the quarters, and you'd have that break right around, I think, like right around St. Patrick's Day, like a little bit before that.
And we had like a month, couple weeks, right?
Well, it'd be
Couple
like
weeks.
January, February, March. You'd be done in the middle of March.
Where we take like
for
a month
2 weeks.
off.
No, like 2
is it
weeks.
2 weeks, right?
No, 2 weeks. Yeah,
I
and
can't
then you're
remember.
back into the next quarter.
I would
Yeah, you're like, I don't fucking remember.
weeks,
So,
months.
Yeah, it all blends together.
I wasn't there that much,
Yeah.
anyways.
So
Kidding.
we had the plan for her to come out here with me, blah blah blah, for her to, and I go back home to Ohio, and I went and played a cover gig with an old cover band that I used to play with, and on the night that the gig got booked in Ohio was the night before we had plans to leave, and we had it all planned out, and we had to leave like really early in the morning. So what ended up happening is, you play this cover gig at 10 p.m. until 2 a.m. You pack up
at fucking
3 a.m., 3:30, 4, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's 6 a.m. It's time to leave. And we had to leave. And I was so bombed out, tired. We were exhausted. We had stuff in the car was packed to the gills. I mean, like you couldn't move in this car, like to breathe at all. And so we head out on the road. And I remember we got maybe 5 miles away from my house, and we were both so exhausted. We were just like, do you want to take a nap?
It's just two of you driving?
Just two of us.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And
Did you guys switch off?
yeah, we would switch
Right.
off. Yeah. And
That's a lot.
it's a lot.
I mean,
and
the full drive is probably like 15, 20 hours, maybe up to Ohio from here. I'll tell you right now.
No. It's oh no, you can't. Your phone's being used as a recording device. No,
I'll tell you from here to Minnesota, it's
Yeah.
35 hours.
Really?
Yeah.
If you drove straight,
We
didn't drive straight because
no,
our
that's
whole
what
thing.
I'm saying.
Yeah,
It's like
we
the
had the
straight
little
drives probably
plants
like
and brakes and everything.
but-
Yeah. And when we left that day, it was like early in the morning. We got like 5 miles in.
Right.
We parked into a Walmart parking lot, the one that's like everybody went to.
It's
So we didn't get
24
far. We got like 5 miles down the
Right.
road, and we were like, I was like, I
No.
can't do this. We're tired.
Yeah.
We need to take like a little cat nap. So we take this cat nap. And then as the day rolled on, we head out full on the road. And I'm making up for lost time. I'm driving. And somewhere in the deep part of the Midwest of the United States, I hit a snowstorm.
Wow.
And
Dude,
I hit a
those are
whiteout.
scary.
Like,
They're
I'm
scary.
talking like there
Yep.
was no reflectors
I
on the
know.
road.
And then you're
There was-
driving. If you guys are driving a car with no fucking chains, too,
Nothing.
And those snowstorms are
It was
nuts.
so bad.
Whitewash, and you're driving.
Yeah.
You're making new
Where it hit,
like you're making new.
you're making new
tread.
tread. Yeah.
It's
And
nuts.
and
It's
semis
so
are going.
scary. Right. Semis don't give a fuck.
They're going
What the
so fast. It took like a couple of miles in the pitch black to
Scary,
finally
dude.
hit that point where
Yeah.
you see the gas stations and you're like, oh,
Thank the
God.
fucking Lord.
It was so. I was so scared. And then we eventually we made it to the Grand Canyon, and then we made it out here. It was like sunny California.
I'll share a nice little. Couple of years ago in 2018, I was on tour with Tessa Violet. Tessa, love you. Great jobs. Great videos. Anyways, it was like four of us so we had a Sprinter van, four of us. So it's me, Tessa, our drummer, Jess Bowen, fucking amazing chick drummer.
What's up, Jess?
She's awesome.
I know Jess.
Yeah, you know Jess.
I met her.
And then our tour manager, MD, Aaron. Fuck, what's Aaron's last name? I forget. But Aaron, sweetest guy in the world. He, we actually all switched off driving.
Oh, nice.
Because we did a whole month following Coin, which I don't know if you remember
Who?
this band called Coin,
No.
COIN, very 1975,
Oh, okay.
but
think
more dreamy 80s pop. Great guys. If you guys see this, I love you guys. Coin, amazing band. They just came out with a new album this year called Dreamland. They rock. But anyways, so it was us four in a Sprinter van following Coin in a tour bus. Right. So we had to
Can we just get on the bus? No, you stay in that van.
we were just like following. It was tough. And we went out from beginning of February to March, and it was all East Coast.
Ooh.
All East Coast,
Oh, that's the worst.
basically all the way back. And I think our last show was at the Wiltern in LA. But we started in fucking like Georgia or something. It was so cold. God, it was the worst. It was scary too. There was nights we'd just be driving, and I remember Aaron, driving, amazing dude and driver. Thank the Lord. It's just 4 of us. It's like 2 a.m. and it's fucking a whitewash. Just and we're going like 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour in a Sprinter van. Yeah. And we're seeing these trucks just fucking. Yeah. And they don't even know where the fucking road is. Yeah. And it's through these like small Midwestern East Coast towns. There's not a lot of people there. Right. Everything's close. Yeah. There's where the fuck do you go? Right. This is the scariest time. It's like so trying to get to one of our hotels. I can't remember exactly where we're going, but we were trying to go to one of our hotels, and it was like 2 or 3 a.m. It was late, and sleeping in a Sprinter van is terrible. So as soon as you wake up, you see just fucking you can't see outside. You can't see like
it was that bad.
4 or 5 feet in front of you. You could see maybe see the trucks, like the back headlight.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Right.
And you're driving on fresh snow. Right. That's just fucking going. So it's like you have to go slow because it's sliding all over the place, and then you have a Sprinter van that's just all top heavy. It's like it's the scariest thing in the world. So I get it.
No, I can't imagine. And that's the thing, I think, like with those, and like I remember driving like a mile an hour, and we're in a car that's not equipped for this, and these trucks are flying by, and they're like, and there's other cars flying by, like as if they're like, what's wrong with you? Right. Like, why
trucks have like,
like why aren't you going the normal speed limit?
Like 16 wheels,
18-wheeler. Yeah, that's what they're called. That's why they're called 18 wheelers.
That's why they call them 16.
Yeah, exactly. You ever see those things on the side of the road that are like a ramp for them if they ever dismount? If they ever like F up?
There's one on the Grapevine.
Oh, is there really?
Going down, I always want to go off and just.
Yeah, that's if the brakes don't work and all that shit goes.
What I would like to bring in is being on the tour bus with Jordan and the band.
Good segue.
Maybe not Jordan. Jordan wasn't on the bus, but the band.
Was he on another bus?
He was on the.
He was flying in a fighter.
He was flying. No, he was flying in the Jonas Brothers.
Oh, there, yeah.
He was with them. But us and the band and everyone, we were in a full size tour bus,
right?
Which was, getting used to.
Is awesome.
Yeah. I mean, the first couple weeks you're just getting used to like sleeping while it's moving.
I love that.
I mean, I took.
What'd you take?
So Brett from Crazy Town, the other lead singer from Crazy Town, he was like, a lot of people told me just take bottom bunk.
Why?
Like take bottom bunk.
What?
They said because even though it's a little bit more bumpy, if there's no bumps, I mean, if it's a good, if the bus has been used a lot, like it's not going to be so bumpy. You're going to be right there with the wheel, it's kind of like a hum, like a fan.
like something to make like coach you to sleep.
Now the higher you are in the bus, the more it's going to sway. Right. So if you're on the ground floor, you might feel a little bit more, but it's kind of symmetrical a little bit.
Was there 3 rows or 4?
There was 3, so it was bottom, middle, top.
Right.
We had 3 all the way back. I think it was.
I don't think I would ever take bottom. I would always take the middle.
10.
I took middle.
I never took middle. I was okay with the bottom because I actually really liked the wheel.
That feeling of it's like
it was nice.
Coach you to
and
sleep.
If you have like a nice, I actually got a like a twin foam cover.
Oh, okay.
And cut it.
Yeah, okay.
And so I was like, it was.
Oh, there
great.
You go. Yeah.
It was great. Oh my God, it was great. So it took me like a week or 2 to get used to that.
Right.
But like the best thing about being on tour and not having to drive.
Yeah.
I will say, if anyone's been on tour,
yeah,
and having to drive the distances and then play the show the next day is probably the worst thing in the world.
Oh yeah.
And I've with Crazy Town, we got a Sprinter van here in LA, and I had to drive to Texas the next day with one other guy to help because another guy was too drunk to drive. But who cares? It's old news. Yeah. But anyways, driving from here to Texas is a 24-hour drive straight, and that's what we did.
Wow.
I think I drove 12 hours.
Here to Texas is 24 hours? Wow.
To Dallas, Texas, it's like 24 hours.
Wow, I didn't know that. I thought it'd be closer than that.
Texas, from start to finish, is 12 hours to drive.
Texas in general. Jeez.
It's
Texas is big.
Texas is fucking huge.
Everything's bigger in Texas.
Yeah, huge.
Belt
Especially the
buckles and our
goddamn
boots.
state.
Yeah.
Jesus. Anyways, I going back to being on a bus and not having to worry about driving is probably the best thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
But then, it's like you have your own space.
Right.
Even like we had 9 people on the bus. So we had
That's not bad. Yeah.
the band, which is 4, so we had me, Danny Hector on bass. I'm sorry. I'm on bass, Danny Hector on guitar. Danny Hector would be a great bass player, by the way, Danny. Danny Hector on guitar, Calvin Martin on drums, Cal Martin Jr. on drums, Aspen Taylor on keys. So those are like the band. Then we had Jess and Drea that were our background singer dancers.
Right. Yeah.
And only 2 girls on the bus. It was actually, we had met them maybe a week before we left. Because Dr. Phil came in and the Jonas Brothers management came in. Dr. Phil's like, you know what? Fuck this. So we need some dancers.
Now we need
some dancers.
What we need right here.
This is what I'm thinking. All right.
We need some dancers.
This is what I'm thinking.
Because that's what well.
This is what I'm thinking.
Wait, hold on.
I think we need some black girls and we need some dancers.
No, God damn it! Listen, Bobby. It's kind of like a Hank Hill. It's kind of like
like full on.
We need some goddamn dancers because nobody wants to look at these white boys on stage.
This is a good story. So good.
Sorry.
So
keep going.
No, it's right there. So last year.
How does that make you feel?
God damn it.
Stay on
Bobby.
point. I'm gonna guide you through this.
Thank you. So we're in rehearsals for opening for the Jonas Brothers. So it's just us. So it's me, Calvin, Danny, Aspen, and Jordan. And it's us, and then we have our sound guy, front of house, MD Eddie Jackson, amazing sound guy, amazing front of house guy. He's been with Jordan for 10 years.
Oh wow!
And then we have Rhett Cromwell, and Rhett has known Jordan in Jordan's past bands. And me and Rhett knew each other briefly, but because he knew the Amp Farm Boys, he toured with the Amp Farm Boys.
Oh, okay.
Because he toured with Disturbed and like a couple other people. He was like a stage manager.
Right.
He's like the guy.
Yeah.
And so when we met, he's from Austin, Texas.
Oh really?
He's like, hey man, fuck this, let's fucking go. Like, dude, he's like, let's drink some beer. Like, fuck yeah, dude. He's one of my favorite dudes in the whole world. And so that was like the band. So it was like 6 of us for like 2 months just rehearsing.
Right.
And then Jordan, coming in and so we rehearsed at Center Stage, going back to the first video, Center Stage.
SIR.
Not even SIR was in the beginning. That was just for like when we first started with Drew Taubenfeld, which you're talking about in the last video. But the longer rehearsals were at Center Staging
for like the dress rehearsals.
This was just like rehearsing the songs over and over. Like we would go. This was so we left in August. That was the tour when it started.
Okay.
We rehearsed. So we started in April. And then the first week we ever played together was May, like the first week of May.
Oh, okay.
And Jordan, so we took a week with Drew Taubenfeld with the band, and we just fucking made the songs just live and cool. And like,
right.
And Drew fucking Taubenfeld, amazing MD, just added these little things in here and there. And we had Jordan come in, and then we played the songs with him, and Jordan was like, fuck, dude, you guys are killing it, and I don't even remember these songs. so give me a week. so it was a great, like, you picked the band, you got a really good deal. And then like we all, obviously I knew Danny Hector for years, and Calvin and Aspen had known each other for years too, so we kind of just all just got in really well. And so we did that for a week in May, took a couple weeks off, and then end of May, starting June, we were like, Jordan has a place up in Beverly Hills, his house. He's got like this studio room you would flip over because he's got all of the oldest guitars you've ever seen.
Right.
Nashes, like old Gibson, old like Danny was just. Danny, I was over the moon. I got to play with fucking 62 basses that he had and Nash bass and.
Didn't he have on the tour a Les Paul special from the 50s?
He did. So that we'll get there. This is another great story. We'll get there. So yeah, we're basically we're rehearsing at his place because he's got his own little studio. We called it the Red Room because it's just red carpet, just around the whole room.
The Red Room.
It's so good.
How long did it take you to come up with that name?
But that was the room that he had all his guitars in and stuff. So
so good.
I didn't even need to bring my bass. He just let me use one of his, or he just let Danny play all of his.
You're like kids in a candy store.
Basically, yeah. Jordan has a knack for just getting really beautifully
the right kind of instruments,
just old great instruments. He does his fucking. It's beautiful.
Jordan, can we be friends?
Gorgeous. But so yeah, we would rehearse there for a while, and Jordan loves tequila. Mainly. Don Julio 1942. So we go to rehearsal and Jordan be like, "Hey, you want some 1942?" I was like,
"That's my new sponsor."
Fuck yeah, I want 1942. It's just so good. So that kind of turned into a thing. We just drink tequila just here or there at rehearsals, and then it's getting into June, July. We were at center staging. Actually. We're at Third Encore.
Oh, okay.
Which is basically the same.
2018 or 2019?
This is 2019. So we're like Third Encore basically for like a month, like almost 2 months straight before we go on tour.
Right.
Like 5 days a week.
Boom, boom, boom.
8 hours
Get it down,
day.
get it tight, that whole thing.
But we were together, and one of Jordan's buddies, this guy, Eric, he actually did all the videography for Dr. Phil.
Oh, okay.
And him and Jordan had known each other obviously for a long time.
Right.
So he had Eric come in and take video and pictures of like the whole thing because he'd never done actually videography. He'd never done pictures.
Oh,
he'd just been doing videography forever. So gave him a chance to kind of be in the whole mix.
Right.
So it was so much fun.
Dude, that's awesome.
For months, it was a lot though. I mean, like we were there for 8 hours a day.
Right.
I'm in the middle. Me and Natalie in the middle trying to find a fucking place to live.
Oh wow.
And we're moving during all this. It was a lot, but it was the coolest thing ever. And then come August, last year we fly to Miami and start the tour.
Yeah.
With the Jonas Brothers.
With the JoJos.
So much fun.
Dude, that's fucking
Jonas
rad.
Brothers, BB Rexa.
Yeah.
Shout out to BB Rexa, sweetest person in the world, and her whole band.
And then you guys got to close it out with the Hollywood Bowl.
That was the first run. So we did
that's right.
We did a 3
What am I
month.
thinking?
You're right. We did a 3 month. So we started in Miami, went all the way up East Coast, and then Canada, came back in. You basically did like a big M.
Right. Yeah.
That was the kind of thing from the East Coast, and ended off on Hollywood Bowl 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. And then we had like a week off. No, sorry. We had a couple of days off. Then we went to Mexico.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Flew to Mexico. We did about 4 shows in Mexico. Which is food. The food is.
I've never been.
It's sexy.
Yeah.
Just the food.
Just the food.
The food is so good.
Is it better than here?
Oh yeah.
Way better.
I mean, it's
Mexican.
It's
would be funny if you're like, go to Mexico and get the lasagna. Go to Mexico.
At one point, I was like,
get the lasagna.
We went to a place. I was like, do they have California burritos? And I was like, fuck me, dude. I'm such an idiot.
But
everyone
of course,
was like, are you serious?
But in Mexico, they don't call it Mexican food. They just call it.
I can't be like,
but they would just call it food.
Right. And they don't even do burritos there, really.
Right. I learned that a burrito is actually a Texas thing.
It is.
It came from Texas.
Tex-Mex.
It wasn't they don't.
Tex-Mex is like, that's
where
basically
they invented the burrito.
Everything you're eating Mexican in America is Tex-Mex.
We should get Mexican food after this, now that I think about it.
That sounds so good.
That would be really good.
Sounds so good.
I've been like Postmating everything, and it sucks.
I haven't had Mexican in a while.
Me neither, which is weird living out here.
Actually,
But we're in anyway. Sorry, go ahead.
I forgot where we were.
You're in Mexico eating the food.
Great food. We stayed at this hotel actually in Guadalajara, and next door was a steak place, and they fucking kill it. They gave you like a steak on a salt, like it's called like a salt heater. So they heat up this slab of salt and put the steak on it, and you can cook it yourself.
What?
It's amazing.
No shit.
Yeah.
How big's the steak?
I mean, I think one of the nights I got the ribeye, and the ribeye was like this big.
Wow.
Like
Wait,
full on.
Let me see. And well, I don't know how to cook steak that well. How do you know how to?
They basically
Did they go, hey, this is how long you leave it on
they
if you want
tell
it
you.
rare,
They
medium
tell
rare,
exactly.
or whatever.
They tell you exactly how to do it, and to flip it, they'll give you a new salt little thing.
Wait, what's this? I don't understand. It's salt?
It's a
like
salt slab.
A slab of actual salt.
It's like a slab, and they
instead
and
of
they
it being
salt,
like
they heat it up, so it's super. It's like
it's salt.
It's like a pan.
Salt as if what you sprinkle on your fries, but it's a slab of it.
Yeah. Whatever slab they use, they put salt.
What's it?
over
Does it look like a giant brick or like a block?
Yeah. It looks literally like a block or like a brick.
And how does it heat up? How do they heat it up?
They heat it up prior on like some heater.
Oh, this thing is just going. Wait, salt.
And they bring the steak.
I didn't know
They
this.
bring the steak on it.
So.
And then you can split the steak, and if you want it like super duper rare, you take it off. If you want it, they'll give you another one. Yeah. So it's like these are like. Even here in LA, there's not a lot of places that'll actually give you like a salt, slab.
I didn't know
there's some places, and you like got fajitas, they do the pan. It's like the same kind of thing.
Same idea.
Same idea.
But I didn't know you can do that with salt.
Yeah.
I had no idea salt could be heated up like that.
Yeah.
Stay intact.
It'll stay there.
And what's the temperature? I'm assuming 1,000 or 100 degrees or like an oven basically.
It's super. Yeah, it's like 400 degrees.
Right. I didn't know salt could do that. Yeah. I had no idea that you could do that with
salt. It'll stay there unless it's absorbed into the meat. So when it's absorbed into the meat.
So you don't have to put salt on this steak. Yeah, that's like your seasoning?
That's right. Your seasoning's there. You can just move it over. Yeah.
Is there any place in LA that does that?
No.
That would be way cooler if it did.
There's some places that do like you pay $50. They give you all the Brazilian places that they just give you slabs of meat and you can.
Right.
M Grill's a good thing. I don't even know. How did we get here? Oh, Mexico.
You're in Mexico with Jordan McGraw.
Anyways, probably the best meat I've ever had like that.
You want to go now?
Ever. Yeah. I'm ready. All right, fuck this.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
See you later. Yeah. Because you keep talking about it, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm hungry.
When I ended going from there, we were in Mexico for like a week. And then came home. I went to LA. I came back to LA for a week. That was the longest I had seen Natalie for about 3 months, which is really tough.
But she, and for those of you who don't know, Natalie is a singer, songwriter, actress as well, so she gets it.
Yeah, she's always
saw her play last year. That was awesome.
She's
League of Their Own.
Yeah, she's doing a lot of musical theater at Rockwell with the most amazing people and friends I've met.
That place is rad. I got to tell you, though, those in the round interactive things, though, make me really uncomfortable.
That's supposed to do that.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it.
That's why it doesn't.
I mean, I know we're like entertainers and performers, and I have my own show.
Right.
But I don't like it when I go to a show and then they try to rope you in, and you're like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready.
It's like, dude, you fucking eat it.
Yeah.
Eat what you've been eating. Eat what you've been making us eat.
Yeah, but that was a good show. That was awesome. Yeah. And then you so you get out of Mexico, you have your awesome salt steak.
Yes.
And then you guys get back.
Home for a week, seeing my girlfriend. It was great. My cats.
Cats are still alive?
Yep.
That's
Thank
good.
God.
Yeah.
No, Natalie's a cat.
She's alive.
She was actually probably happier that I wasn't home because she just had all the cats.
She's like, you were gone? Fuck. I didn't know that.
No, it's tough. We talked every day.
That's always a tough thing with relationships. And
it was our first time being, we've been together 3 years now. So it was the first time being gone. She was supposed to fly out to New York. She's from Chicago originally.
Right.
When I was in Chicago, played the United Center. Her parents came out and we had, a whole thing. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. It was actually a lot of the tour too. It was great to be in cities and maybe have, like your friends on tour as well. Yeah, I got to see Ramon when I was in New York.
Right, I remember seeing that. That's so awesome. Especially when you bump into somebody. That's so much fun.
When I was in Chicago, actually, at the United Center, got to see Haley Bat, who
Haley Bat
basically got me the gig.
Right, we talked about that.
Yeah.
Watch episode 1 to find out how Nick got the gig for Jordan McGraw.
If you can watch, then you'll find out. Just
find out. Back. Tune in from a couple of weeks ago, from a month ago. Yeah. Do you think? I mean, I miss doing that. It's been a while for me since I've had the tour traveling around thing, and I've always loved it. I thought it was a blast. I always loved it.
That was my first time ever on a bus.
Really?
Yeah.
It's fun, isn't it?
So fun.
My favorite.
So it's just easy because I was used, especially back in
Sprinters
Crazy Town.
And
I was just
hustling
driving.
it. Yeah.
It's lots of driving.
I mean, and also, I mean, like either way, like that stuff is fine and all. Like, I think either way, as long as you're having a fun time and you're making a dent and you're doing things
especially
like
if you're with the right people. If you guys can get along and have fun, while you're driving 7 hours and fart on each other and
you fart,
it's good. It's fun.
I had a rough go with something, and I won't mention who it was and who was involved.
Hitler.
It was Hitler. I was touring with Hitler. I get a phone call out of I get a phone call out of nowhere one day from a buddy of mine who plays drums, and he's like, "Hey man, like, what are you doing next week? We need a guitar player." And I was like, "Okay."
I don't do that.
And I was like, "I don't play guitar. What are you talking about?" I was like, he's like, "Can you do it?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." I was like, whatever. And he's like, "Well, we're on the road right now," and he's like, "We're flying back in like Wednesday, and then I'll come and meet with you, and we'll learn the songs and or and then whatever, and then we're gonna basically head out like later that week."
Quick.
And I was like, okay. And it's one of those things that was, I'm trying to think how long we were gone. We were gone 10 days when we were on the road. And
a Sprinter van or like?
Sprinter van.
Okay.
Sprinter van. We were like East Coast. It was fine. No, it honestly, God, it was fine. And here's the thing. This is why I bring this up, because we were in a Sprinter van. We had some cool shows. We were an opening act for a supporting act and a headliner, and we were doing these like shows in Florida. We had some, I think, like in Georgia. I was like, I can't remember how many shows it was in total. I think it was like 7 shows, something like that.
That's cool.
It was pretty cool. It was fun, and it was cool to kind of just like jump in and literally. Oh, you know what it was? I was at the time. This is what's nuts about it was the day that they had a show in. Oh God, where were we? Oh, good God. I'm trying to think. I want to say it was Chicago. It's got to be Chicago. I'm going to say it's Chicago. For the life of me, I can't remember. Because I think that's where it started. And then we ended up in Florida. That was the whole deal.
Okay. So full East Coast, Midwest.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. And what it was they had a show booked on like a Friday night at this, theater in Chicago for all intents and purposes. I can't remember for the life of me.
Right.
Because... And they wanted to book the flight for Thursday because they were already there. Or they were going to be there.
Show was Thursday?
No, the show was Friday.
Okay.
But I had a gig here in LA Thursday night, and it was at Sayers. And you know how Sayers goes. And Sayers wouldn't start until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning.
Easy.
And I go, I have this gig I'm already committed to. I have to do it. And they go, well, we can get you a red eye. And I go, okay. So I go and do Sayers, and I kind of get...
I think I remember this.
You remember this? Yeah. And I kind of get a little drunk, and I play the gig, and we get done at like 2 a.m. I pack up, I go home, I drop my stuff off, I rush down to LAX, I go into the airport, I hop on a plane, fly into Chicago, get off the plane, they come and pick me up. I've never met these people before. Now, the drummer, my buddy who got me the gig, I knew him, I've worked with him before, so I knew what to expect, but I didn't know these people. And when somebody explains to you, hey... so our guitar player quit and we have 7 shows left.
You're like, okay.
I'm like, okay, cool. I'm in. But my head goes to,
why did he quit?
Why did he?
Exactly. I know.
And then throughout.
And then you're like, well, can I deal with this shit?
Right. That's what I didn't expect. And
because you're so excited about, hey,
I'm gonna go do this. It's gonna be fun. Yeah. And then the worst part about it was like, okay, so I get in and we do these shows, and they were very like nice people to me, right? Because I came in.
You came in early
and did that
I mean, like, you came in late, so they had to be.
And the first time we played
You
together
were new.
was on stage in front of people, right? So,
I love that.
and we're in a Sprinter van. We go from like Chicago to Florida. We do the whole 9 yards. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, like they were doing the right thing as far as like paying for the things
Right.
that they were supposed to pay for as running the tour or whatever like that. And she was an artist who's like, just trying to make a name for herself.
Sure.
But you slowly start to kind of figure out why this other guy quit.
Right.
And I felt so bad for the photographer who was taking pictures because then at one point, like, it's like when you don't know what's going on and you start hearing people like chit-chatting and clattering and you're going like, wait, what's going on? Like, I feel a vibe. I feel a heavy vibe. I feel, and the drummer at one point he said to me, he's like, she's not really happy with the photographer right now. Like, blah, 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 blah. So maybe just steer clear and don't know. I was like, what the fuck? And then at one point I remember like we got to a gig and she's like hovering over her going, okay, so we've been here. We did this gig in Virginia, and these are the photos you got. These are all the photos you got. That's it. This is all you're telling me. And blah, 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 blah. And she's just like, berating this poor girl.
Right.
And I was like, oh, shit. And then you start to feel that weird vibe, and it starts to make everybody uncomfortable. You're like, I'm walking on eggshells.
Now you're in the vibe.
Now
everyone's been feeling.
Right.
You're like, ew, hey,
And
how's
then
everyone doing here?
We wake up in Florida.
Ugh.
I know, you're right. Like,
Like
when
the
you're like,
last show.
no, this wasn't the last show. This was the kicker about it. No,
Okay.
but you're like, what you were just saying, you're just like, hey,
Right.
who wants toast?
Right.
Like, you're like, I don't know what to say.
Because you're like the new guy. You're like, should I make this better or
Right.
what do I do?
What do you do? Yeah, you're like, I just have to kind of just like, I'm just going to play guitar.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to stay out of it and everything. And I remember there was issues with drinking. They would like be really concerned. Like I remember at one point, somebody was just like, and I won't say who it was on the crew or whatever like that. They were like, is that another beer? Okay. Before the show.
Right.
And I was like, standing there like, what?
Right.
It was so like, it was obvious. They were just like, is that another beer? Okay. And I don't have a drinking problem, and I don't get drunk before I go on stage, or like you can get like a buzz and have a beer or
like
two.
I have a beer or maybe a shot.
That's
before
fine.
I go on just to
That's
warm
what I
myself
do.
up. It's
I'm not getting tanked.
No, I would never. I couldn't. If I got drunk before a show,
It would be so
it
bad.
would not happen.
But it was weird that somebody had to say something like to me, and I started kind of getting that whole vibe of like, I'm like going, all right, we're in a Sprinter van, things are
Now
close
I
quarters.
know
Now I
what's
get why this
happening.
guy.
Right.
Granted, that guy shouldn't have quit out of nowhere. He probably should have committed and
Right.
stayed on it, but whatever. And then one morning we wake up in Florida, and we're supposed to go because Florida's a big state as well.
Yes.
So we're supposed to go to one gig from like we're at the top of Florida, and then we're supposed to go down, and then we come back around. I can't remember the exact geography of what we did. But then through conversation, through the route of driving and everything, I start to go, wait a minute. Are we at the Orlando airport? And I go, why are we at, and it was like,
Someone's leaving.
and I was like, huh?
Right.
And then we get there,
No.
and I was just like looking, and
Who's
it was
leaving?
It was a photographer,
Oh man.
and she was just like, because nobody was saying anything,
Right.
and I
Well,
was
no
already
one,
in
no
that.
one does.
I was already in that boat
No
of
one
being
says
like,
anything until they're gone. You're like,
and she didn't say anything to me. God bless her for
where's
being
that
like,
person?
right. God bless her for being like professional and not saying anything. She was just quiet. She was doing what she was doing. Everybody was doing what they're doing, and I'm like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do.
Sometimes people just
And then
Can't get
she was
along.
like, all right, guys, it's nice meeting you.
Yeah.
See you later. And then I was like, okay.
bye.
Bye. Like, it was so weird.
That's where they brought everyone along.
Yeah.
You know.
And I was just like, and that's the thing. So it's like, whether you're in a Sprinter van, whether you're doing whatever, and I mean, don't get me wrong, there was like fun moments in it. But when the overall vibe starts to capside, and you start to get this, like, someone's going like,
It's
and again, like I said, and that one, like, I'm a person, I don't care what you do. If you do your job on the road, you do a good job, or you treat people with kindness and everything, and you have a good time, like, I'm totally for that. Like, I'm all for, like, everybody have a good time, relax, have a beer,
Right.
have your joint, have your whatever,
Right.
If you're not
Just
making
show up.
just show up, do your
Be
job.
there.
Show up, suit up, and shut
Right.
up. But if you're going to start verbal wars with me and come at me and go, another beer, huh?
No.
Okay. And be a dick about it, that's when I was like, what
Yeah.
possesses you to think that you need
Power.
to
It's power.
a little bit, yeah. And I'm
a bit of
going,
power.
wait, and I'm going, because you can sit there as a
Fortunately.
musician and go like, wait a minute, I'm doing a good job. There's no need for that.
And it, again, it's like, it's not about you. It's about whoever's running it
Yeah.
wants to make everyone feel like.
Hey, I'm
You
running
know?
this.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Let's not forget
Yeah.
who wears the pants
I'm
in this
the,
show.
I'm the guy running this. you
right,
know?
right, yeah.
Yeah, there was. It's a little off topic, but while we were on tour, on the bus, this is on the second leg, so we're coming from Salt Lake. No, we were coming from Denver,
Okay.
going to Salt Lake,
Okay.
and our bus broke down somewhere in Wyoming. Like, I was sleeping. It was early. It was like 9 or 10 a.m.
Yeah.
I was sleeping, and we had the night before we had left the show, and we had some plastic bag on the ground while we were driving came up in one of the generators and started smoking. And so we're all sleeping or like hanging out, and there's smoke coming through the ventilators in the bus, and everyone's like, "This smells weird."
Something's not right here.
We stop and we find out and get the bag out and everything. You know, the bus it's working. It's fine. And this is the second half of the tour. So
and you're in the middle of Wyoming, in the
we
middle
had
of
already
nowhere.
we had already done 3 months on this bus
Mhm.
and came back to do another one and had some issues, but like nothing crazy. The bus still worked, and then this happened driving from Denver to Salt Lake, and that night we were still in the bus, everything was fine, and then next morning I wake up, we're somewhere in Wyoming, and we're pulled over because the bus is we can't drive.
The bus got too high.
Yeah.
It was smoking.
It was smoking. The bus basically broke down,
He's like, I can't do it, man.
and
I
we're
just
on the
can't pull
day.
over any
It was
further.
one of the I can't pull over, and so basically we played a show in Denver, had the day off, and then drove that night, basically to the next venue where we're gonna have that show that day.
Right. Oh shit.
Where the day of the show we're broken down in Wyoming, right? Like 4 hours from Salt Lake, and whatever piece that the bus needs is not gonna.
right.
It's not gonna come.
Yeah.
We're in the middle of Wyoming, and given
You need
that,
a 4-scepter L bracket HU26.
Right.
They don't make those anymore.
you'll love this. Given that morning that we left Denver to go to Salt Lake, the bus was being worked on. Whatever needed to be worked on had been worked on.
Okay.
For
Yeah.
That's why we stayed. We stayed in Denver for like 3 days. We were only supposed to be there for like 2 days,
Right.
2.5 or 1.5 maybe.
Right.
And the bus had to get all this mechanical issues worked on because of the bag issue. And so we're waiting in Denver, and we're having a great time. Denver's great, by the
Love
way.
Denver,
It's
yeah.
so much fun.
My brother lives there.
It's beautiful. It was a little chilly out, but lots of fun places, and we're all just kind of staying in the hotel. Like, are we gonna need to stay again, or what's happening with the bus? No idea. That morning of the show, we're there at 10 a.m. It's still in Denver. Sorry,
Yeah.
it's like 8 or 9, and we get the bus back from whoever's fixing it. Mind you, around Gus's fucking thing, there's weed plants just growing everywhere.
Are you
By the
serious?
way. Yeah, So you're like, okay, this looks good, and we're supposed to leave, and
This isn't sketchy.
we need to drive to
We're
Salt
gonna-
Lake. It's fine. It's totally fine. So we finally get the bus back. Our driver, Mike, he's like an army vet, this big dude. He's like, it's gonna be fine. We're gonna be great. Best driver ever. But so like we're driving. We leave Denver, and I wake up maybe like an hour or two later, and it's like 10 or 11, and they're like, yeah, the bus is broken down again. After like 2 days of it being fixed.
Right.
And we're like, okay. it's fine. It's like at this point we're sitting there. It's 1 p.m. at this point. We're like, okay, we're at this little like gas station thing. We have food, like whatever.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
So sound check is at like 4 or 5, and then
How far away are you?
We go on at 7:45, 7:30.
Yeah.
We're about 34 hours away. Right?
Oh my god.
So it's 1 p.m. at this point, and we're like, okay,
we're not gonna make it.
what the fuck are we gonna do? We're in a town with
You're how far away again?
We're 4 hours away. 4 hours. Like 3 or 4 hours away.
It's 1 p.m. Your sound check's supposed to be at what time?
Our soundtrack is usually like 4 or 5.
And you're that far away.
That far away. And
You're
it's
broken
1.
down. And
We're
you're
like,
yeah.
we're probably not gonna make it.
Right.
Okay. We can. The sound guys, Joe Bro sound guys, already pretty much have our shit preset. So if we can show up with our equipment, they can get it plugged in. Like we can go pretty fast.
Yeah.
Right. No big deal. The problem is bus is not working, and we're in this town of 600 people. How are we gonna get there? Right.
Right.
There's one taxi service in the whole town, with one taxi. Right.
Yeah.
To get us.
No
anywhere.
Uber, no Lyft,
Nothing.
whatever. Right.
That's non-existent.
Yeah.
In this place.
There's a guy with a tractor and a pig and a
Seriously.
taxi cab.
He's like,
and
why,
a newspaper.
What is that van?
Right.
I've never seen that.
Right. Yeah.
You
guys are a bunch of devil worshippers. I know it.
Right. Look, how are you making that big thing drive?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
weird.
Satan witch power. I know it. I've seen a thing or two.
This town did have a rental car place.
Okay.
It's owned by the oldest people in the world.
Right.
And they had like 7 cars.
The American Gothic farmers.
Yeah. 7 cars.
Yeah.
They had one van. So, there's 9 of us. Right? 10 of us at this point. And we can't fit, obviously.
You can't
we
fit
all
everybody.
Fit.
Yeah.
Can't all go. So we got one van, the more important people, which is basically sound guy, stage guy, front of house stage guy, Danny. No, sorry. Not even Danny. drums and keys, because they, drums needs to be there. Keys, makes everything.
Right. They're picking like, who do we absolutely need?
Dancers,
Worst case scenario.
Just to be there.
Right.
Jordan may have to do this without guitars or bass and just have to put it in the track.
Yeah.
So me and Danny, hang back, stage manager, and Jordan's assistant.
Check your microphone cable real quick. Touch that. Yeah, you hear that? Push it. I guess it's fine, right?
I
Yeah.
hear it.
All right.
It's
Sorry.
in there.
All right. I can hear it.
Anyways.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
So they leave. The first van leaves like 30 minutes before us, and so we had to leave our photographer on the bus because we couldn't fit everyone.
Right. Yeah.
And the bus was there basically till the next day. It was a fucking shit show.
Oh my
basically.
god.
So we're on at 7. We're supposed to go on at 7:45 tonight. Our management was like, "You're going on 7:30." I'm like, "Well, we're not gonna get there." So, fucking, God, long story short, our first van leaves. My tour manager drives it, and then my stage manager, me, Danny, Hector, my stage manager, Rhett Cromwell, and then Jordan's assistant were in the last one because it's just us with our guitars and like the things we'd need if we can get there on time.
Right, like the bare.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
So they get there first. We get there at like 7:15.
Not bad.
And Jordan, his assistant had forgot to give our tour manager his in-ears. So we had the in-ears, and we were like really close.
No shit.
It was about to be a shit show.
Wow.
It was about to be a shit show.
You came in at the last second.
So
we're
my
wow.
tour manager's talking to BB's guys, and like we're all homies with,
right.
Thank God, Dre Pigney, bass player for BB, he was like, yeah, Nick can use my bass amp, just plug in easy, so we didn't have to set up the Kemper the rack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's just gonna take so long. So we get there literally 7:15, 7:20.
Wow.
Plug in, get on stage,
play the show. No shit. And you had his in-ears.
Yeah.
For the in-ear monitors.
We got
system.
Jordan his in-ears.
Yeah.
He got his in-ears. Thank God. We played the show. And it went great.
No,
It didn't sound as we were used to, but we fucking
right. You make it through and everything.
within,
Way, I can't believe it.
We had BB's sound guy like helping us with everything.
Right, and you're just like
it's
like as
up
if you
until the show.
It's like you showed up. Like putting your clothes on, going, "Hey, we're here. Give me the bass." Boom, and you're on stage in front of people.
It was nuts.
And you just boom.
And
I'm sure it's still a good show.
It was a great show.
And sometimes those are like the best stories when you're like
crazy as shit.
Like it's on, the pressure's on. Shit. I can't believe that.
It's cool.
Yeah, dude. Oh my god.
I can't believe we made that.
You made it. You made. But that shit happens. All that stuff. I mean, I love when stuff kind of goes. I mean, I don't like it when it goes wrong, but like. Not everything is going to go well and perfect, even if there's money involved or a budget. Like sometimes things do happen.
It happens all the time.
And you have to kind of roll with those punches. Yeah, exactly.
And the more you are able to roll with it with the experience, the better the crowd and whoever's watching that experience, because they don't fucking know.
Sometimes
they don't know the fuck's
No, they don't know at all. But sometimes for you as a performer, sometimes I feel like when things go wrong like that, and when... For you as the performer, so let's say I'm coming in like last minute and it's just like, that artist I played with.
Yeah.
I had great shows with them because there was no pressure for me to be perfect.
Right.
Therefore, I kind of was perfect.
Right.
Because I wasn't thinking. I was like,
fun.
If I mess this up, if I mess up some parts,
it was in the.
You're not thinking about it too much, so then I kind of just go with it. But when everything is like super prepared and like, we go, pressure's
you're thinking
on.
too much.
But when you're just like, fuck it,
I think
everything
when you
else.
just fuck it and go with it.
Yeah, you're like, everything went wrong. Fuck it, and then it ends up being almost a little bit better, or you're just a little bit more relaxed. But dude,
I remember.
I can't believe that happened.
I remember playing on a tour. I won't say, but. We were on we were touring, opening for an artist, and the artist I was playing with had a couple of like headlining shows. Just her.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Just the artist. And,
just the artist that you're opening
the
with.
Person.
Right.
And but that first night, we had rehearsed because we were only playing maybe half an hour, so it was maybe like 5 songs.
Yeah.
And then we had with the other stuff for headlining, it was like an hour, 45 minutes, 45 hour. So it was like I needed to learn like four more songs, and we didn't really have time to learn them. But we did great. It wasn't even that. It was like for the headlining, it was just a couple of the stems from that headlining show were different from the smaller show. So we had different intros for different songs, and some things started here and before.
For those who don't know what stems are parts of a song that, let's say it's like a subwoofer bass track or like a key part, pre-recorded. It's the isolated track. That's what you hear, what the audience hears, and what helps the band. We hear it on stage if you're wearing in-ear monitors and all that stuff. That's what stems are. That anyway, just a kind of.
You have a track of bass or guitar or something.
Extra parts and all harmonies, whatever, anything that can come in and kind of like assist you.
Yeah. Something that's isolated in the song.
These stems were messed up.
Yes. So we had.
You're like playing in the wrong key,
or
you're
it was like
leading
we started it and we thought we got off and we stopped it and we're like, we're gonna try it again. And the same thing happened. And we stopped
in front of people.
In front of people.
Woo!
And my this is her first time doing a headlining show. Period.
Right.
And they were all fans. Thank God. Like we were like, you know what? We have not practiced this. This is a brand new like thing for our headlining show that we hadn't done, and the fans were great. They were like super supportive.
They were understanding of it.
We did it. You know what I mean? It's just it happens.
Yeah.
And I will say the worst thing is stopping a song and starting over.
Ooh, that's the worst.
It's probably the worst because you lose everyone. But if everyone's there to see you and they understand,
yeah, I know. But that's such a weird moment when you're like,
let's start the song over.
I've had it happen. I had it happen where
it sucks.
I've had it happen at a live show where it was a jam night. At the Sunset Jam, the Viper Room.
Even if it's
and somebody had the keyboard in a different key, and we go and play the song, and all of a sudden everybody picks up, and you're like rocking out, and then the band picks up, and it's like that horrible noise of everybody being off key, and I was like, yeah, it's not like you're like
Just keep the drums going, and then we'll.
Yeah, and you're just like, and they're like, wait a minute, this is a preset. Like, and
Right.
when that happens, and everyone looks at you, and like, you have to restart it. You
It's
don't.
tough.
You're like, okay,
You
here's
shouldn't ever
here's another
restart.
here's another 3-4 minutes
Right.
of awkwardness.
Right.
How are we gonna get that feeling off of our?
And that's also
know.
another thing you learn. It's like if you know the people you're playing with, and something like that happens, then you can save it.
You totally
in some
can.
sort
I
of
think if
way.
something like that happened with us, if we were doing something and something
Right.
went wrong, I think we would have fun and laugh about
Right.
it. It would
To
not.
make it seem like nothing's happening wrong.
Right,
on
yeah,
the stage.
yeah.
And that's literally the number one thing to do. If something wrong is happening, if you lose your ears, if something
You sell it
you
like
gotta-
everything is fine, ready to go. Well, dude,
it's about the fans. It's about you
It's
guys.
about you guys.
Anyways.
We're professionals.
Are we there? Is it time?
I think we can.
Let's call it quits.
I think we can wrap it up
Let's
here.
wrap
I
it
think
up.
we did a good job. We got about a solid
Yeah.
2 hours all together with both parts and everything. And those fucking stories were that was
Good
so
stories.
funny. That was so good. I like hearing about all the things that you did with Jordan McGraw and everything. Hear about the story of the little secret sauce that made Into the Wild happen. If you guys get a chance, I'll let Nick take this out. Tell everybody what they should do.
Yeah,
in
please.
life. Give them
Go
life
to-
advice.
Go to my Instagram, Nick Diiorio Music, and go to my bio. Click the link. You'll find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music, fucking everything. YouTube, SoundCloud very soon. Under Diiorio, Diiorio. And the new song's called Into the Wild. And there'll be more music coming soon. Yeah.
Oh, that's
I
right.
think so. We're going to have some new music coming maybe next month. We'll see. I kind of want
Awesome.
to plan it on the quarantine and see how everyone's feeling. And
Release it when you know you want to release
Yeah.
it without the computer going, fuck you.
I'm gonna,
Bam.
yeah, right. I'm gonna try and actually release it when it's supposed to be. Give it an actual date people could be excited for, and I'll be like, "Oh shit, it's out today." Well, fuck me.
Bested by the computer again.
But yeah, O'Grady's gonna show a little snippet.
I
of
will,
the
yeah.
song.
I will
the
close
end of
out this
this.
episode with a post little tag. This is going to be post.
But
You're
it's
going to be,
Into the Wild.
buddy,
Hey,
thank you so much for coming back
thanks for having me.
and doing
I
episode
love you.
7.
I just wanted to see it.
I
just
know.
talk.
It's such a good
It sucks
excuse.
for them because they're like, God, they just need it. We're just trying to see each
Catch
other,
up
hang
and
out.
talk. We go off the rails.
We
and
don't
everything
talk.
goes-
We don't have a script.
No.
Obviously.
Obviously, yeah. This show was not thought
No.
out by anybody
Nope.
and everything.
Nope.
Viewer discretion advised. You will be slightly dumber at the end of this
Maybe
episode.
just drink or smoke some weed and then listen to it. I
Yeah,
think
there
we'll
you
have
go.
a
You
good
could
time.
do that and everything. But hopefully you learned something. You learned a couple cool things about music. And thank you so much for coming on. Episode 7. I will have your footage for episode
Yes,
1
sir. Finally.
coming out soon since we messed up on that and everybody. So thank you so much if you're watching or listening to this. Thank you so much for checking out the show. Michael O'Grady and the Creatives. Make sure you go onto iTunes and download it, stream it, give us some ratings, talk back to us and everything. Go onto YouTube. All these episodes will be
Talk back
pre-recorded. Yeah, talk back to me directly, whatever. All these episodes are on YouTube once this airs and everything. And we are going to say bye-bye. And we're going to close out the show with Into the Wild.
Where's that coming from?
This is God.
Enjoy.
All right, that's it. Bye, everybody. See ya. Love you.
Thanks.